Hello, everybody. Can you hear and see me? I can see the chat. Can everyone see me? This is all new. Hello. Yes, you can hear me. Okay, great. Hello, everybody. Oh my goodness, this is so amazing. I've missed you all so much. It's so great to get together and have a chat. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad this is working. I've just been a little bit panicky at a few issues. Of course, like I tested everything multiple times. Everything was working perfectly yesterday. And then today, of course, we have a little hiccup. So it's okay. I figured out a way around it. And we will persevere. Hopefully, nothing else crazy happens. Oh my goodness. Hello, everybody. Yay, guys. It's so great to be back. We need to do this more often, and we will. We'll just have to figure it out. Now, I'm really glad, like if this works and this works well for us, this is a way better platform to do it on, because I found that a lot of the other things that to do like more privately, not on YouTube, but they were quite expensive actually. And unless you're doing it multiple times a month, it really just wasn't very cost effective. So if this works, this is a great solution. So yay. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly just give you a little overview of the course if you haven't looked at it already. And I'll just kind of give you a little, just a quick brief overview of that. And then I'm going to show you inside the course, we're going to just watch a video, a short video, just doing a sketch, and you're welcome to sketch along. Absolutely. We're going to do the first little dragon character. And then what I'm going to do after that, we'll take our sketch and I will illustrate it live. So I'll do a live drawing and we'll just really flesh it out and create a new scene that's not even in the actual course. So we'll just kind of expand on one of the practice lessons and just make it into an illustration. So if you want to follow along, if you have the course, and then you can just, you probably may have already done the sketch or maybe not, so you can kind of do that with me, and then you'll have all the tools that are needed for that. So so let's get started. Okay, so hopefully this works. Fingers crossed. Okay, so I'm just gonna go over the screen over here. Let's see if the, yay, okay, there we go, it's working, beautiful. So I'm gonna go over here and have a look. So I can't see the chat right now. Let me see if I can do this. Oh, then it wrecks it for you. So, okay, I'll leave it like this. Just note that I can't see the chat while I'm going through this. But I'll try to come back for questions after. All right, so this is Draw Your Own Fairytale. So it is very, very much geared towards children's book illustration, that type of thing. So if you like that, this is absolutely for you. It's also obviously a great way to learn to draw and, of course, finish your illustrations. And in a very particular sort of vintage storybook aesthetic. So you get to do lots of good stuff. We have the little video there. So, of course, it's always learn at your own pace. It is perfect for beginners, but it is also challenging. I mean, you'll notice that this character actually isn't, that's a little bit more of a complex character. And we work up, and you will absolutely be challenged, but you can do it. I had all of my testers, which we'll see in a little minute. All of my testers were at a various range of skill levels. One lovely lady just started Procreate like a month ago. So if she can do it, you can do it. And she had a great time. So everybody really was saying that, yeah, they could absolutely do it. Yes, we're challenged, but you have all the guides and the support, and you're absolutely able to do it and feel really good and actually have fun. So, of course, there are worksheets and guides to help you. But not only that, I actually do show you how to create your own guides, because I know some of you actually wanted to know how to do that. So you can create your own to help you in your next drawing when it's something different. So that's a good little bonus there. We have, of course, in this one, we do practice sketches. I'll show you more in a little bit, but we really take a character and then develop it. So it's not just one drawing. We actually draw 3 different sketches of the same character. So that's a little bit different as well, and actually really helps you, so you're not just learning one pose, you learn 3. And then, of course, we fully illustrate and do this fun technique of making it look all grungy and vintagey and lovely, like an old fairy tale. The other thing about this course that is different and unique, I think, is that we're not just doing character design. While it's very, very much based in that, we're also doing full world creation. So I actually do create full scenes. So all the little extra little elements to make it a full piece of artwork, a full, coloring page or like a page of a book is in there. So it's all based on storytelling. We just do a little story together. I make a little story for each one, and then we will basically illustrate that scene. So that is what makes that unique. So of course we have videos, worksheets, full projects, beginner's guides, scene creation. We practice 3 poses for each character and draw them a little bit differently. Guide creation, we have character sheets. We go full, explain exactly who and what your character is. And of course, all the brushes and tools that you need. And then I have also provided the finished artwork so you can have a look at that as well for reference. So that's me. As always, the lovely brushes are included. It's a sample pack. I'm sure you guessed it's a sample from the Fairytale Artist Studio. So those are where those come from. So these are your practice drawings. So each character is drawn 3 different ways. So you can see that there's a progression of skill level. Obviously the gnomes are simple, the dragons are a little bit more complex, wizards we keep growing, unicorns, princesses, and finally the fairies. So it does grow in complexity. So this is the lovely project 1. Project 2. You know what? I kind of feel like I should come back just here just to have a look at the chat. Everyone's okay? Going at an okay pace? Awesome. Okay, so let's just back up here. So project 2 is we have Doodle the dragon. So we illustrate him fully. Bumblebeard the wizard, and his little trusty friend. So you can see how the projects get a little bit more complicated as we go on. And finally, our lovely fairy. So you work on your own pace. The curriculum is over 18 hours long. It's 80 videos. I tried to break them up into smaller sections so that, you're just kind of enough for each, like about 15 to 20 minutes each lesson. And yeah, so it's a longer course, but I do not fast forward anything. I just we're all drawing together at your own pace. So there's 0 skipped. Everything is just as in real time. The feedback I've gotten is that that's what people like. I like it too. So if everyone's good with that, you may still have to pause at some points, but you pretty much can run it through while you go through it together. All right, let's see. Oh, okay. Look at these. Okay, these are amazing. Oh, I can't see everybody's name here. Shoot, that's Gigi. Maybe if I pause it here. Look at these. I mean, this is the student work, you guys. Some of these people are beginners. Some of these are more advanced artists. It's more intermediate, but they killed it. Like, this was so amazing. What a great group. I had a lovely time with these ladies. They were incredible. And they just put so much effort into this during the summer. So that was pretty impressive. I can't thank them enough. Look at these. These are amazing. They were awesome. So the feedback is they gave me such lovely write-ups, and it was just, their feedback was incredible. So they really, really enjoyed it. So, and I enjoyed working with them for sure. All right, so that's pretty much all that in there. Lovely, all the questions. And of course, it's on sale right now. Early bird, 50% off as always for my lovely community. Okay, so question, excellent. Question, is the complete brush pack included in the class or is it separate? I only see the sample brush set in my class. Yes, it's just a sample. It's not the full ones. I just pared it down just so it's not, so we just used a concentrated, just a few of those on there. So it's just a sample from it. Okay. I wish there was a spot where we could kind of like park questions so I didn't miss them in the chat, but if I don't answer you, please just ask it again. It's not rude. Okay. Oops, let me just turn off my mail before it makes. I'm not so sure about the brushes. Do we need to get other ones? What is in the, oh, like for today or for the course? The course contains exactly what you need. You don't need anything else. Everything is included in the course. For today, if you don't have the brushes, yeah, for the course. Yeah, so no, you don't need anything else. Everything is included for what you need and for exactly what I use. So no need for anything else. Okay, so let's do this. As long as you can see the iPad, we should be good to go. Exactly. That's exactly what I said, Melissa. Perfect. Okay, so if we're ready to do this sketch, let's go ahead. In this lesson, we're going to draw a few dragons just to get us warmed up and have a few options for the types of dragons we can make. They're all going to be a little bit more on the baby side, kind of cute. We'll practice how to do little expressions with very minimal work and have a few body positions, a few body angles, head positions, and whatnot. So let's dive in. If you are a beginner and you want to follow along, I do have the beginner's guide, so you can use this just as a jumping point, so you already have your proportions all ready to go. It helps you practice placement, how to see things a little bit differently and be able to correct your work if you're working on your own, just to kind of see where things, if they bother you, how to see that and how to change that, what's irritating you about that, or if something feels a little bit off. This is sort of a way to start to learn how to see things differently if you're looking from reference. I'm just going to open up my Dragon 1 worksheet. And if you're having trouble importing your worksheets, then I encourage you to go back to the Getting Started section and learn how to import those there. So now that we have our worksheet up here, I'm just going to drag it up from the bottom, grab onto my photos and pull it over to the side and release. And here I have my Dragon step-by-step worksheet, so we can follow along with that. Just in the center, there's a little tab. I'm just going to slide it over just so I have more space here where I'm drawing. And I can zoom in here. So we see if you feel up to it, you can just draw this simple shape, or you can follow along with the beginner's guide here. As you can see, the proportions are almost exactly 50-50, which gives us a very cute little character. It's going to make it look more juvenile, more childish. So that's what we'll be going for today with our baby dragon. Okay, so let's just move to step 2 and we'll start seeing a little personality. So instead of having his arms flat, we're going to practice one just by its side and one in front. And you can see his little tail, his little feet. Okay, so I'm going to start with just my classic sketcher. I'm going to create a new layer so I'm not drawing on my guide. I can lock that too, just in case, because I have drawn on it before and had to go back and redo everything. So we're just going to grab a brown. You can grab any color you want, but I'm just going to use brown today. Okay, so I'm just going to notice where these lines come in, just like this little shape here. This is what I mean by looking at things a little bit differently. Instead of just seeing this shape, I can look here and just notice this little shape here as well. So I'm going to try to mimic that. And I'm going to also notice that this comes about halfway. So I can just sort of give myself a little mark there. This is just a sketch. We're not doing like our good copy right away. So we can make, little marks for ourselves and whatnot. Maybe I noticed that this is up about here. So I can just simply go, just create this line. I'm looking at, creating this shape in here as well, if you're wanting to be exact. And just bringing it around. And it doesn't have to be exact, of course. You're just trying to get the basic shape. But it's just a different way of seeing how to draw something that you're trying to use as reference accurately. So there we go. Just a way of seeing things a little bit differently. Okay, and again here, this is coming below this in relation to this. So I'm just going to kind of have a look here. So it's just going to be a little bit lower. This is pretty straightforward. Have a little gap there so it comes out a little bit from the side. Out and a scoop. I mean, that's the simplest way to do cute character type arms, just little sausages. Makes them look cute. Okay, and these feet are just a little rounded here, and a flatter bottom. Just like that. Same with here. Obviously, they'll be the same. You can always take your eraser and clean up anything, just if it almost like molds your shape. There we go. Okay, and now we have the tail. So the tail, I'm just gonna look and notice this gap here. So that's gonna help me. Just do that, so about there. And then I'm just gonna go, it's gonna swoop from here. And I'm gonna notice where this spot ends here, right about in the center of this area. So I kind of know where to end. And swoop. There we go. Just like that. I feel like mine looks a little bit thicker. So again, I'm just noticing, looking, observing. I'm going to erase that. Try again. Bigger swoop. Okay, that's probably better. I can probably draw the sides of his body in here. I think. Let's have a look. Yeah, we can draw the sides of his body here. Okay, a few more details. So on his feet, you can see that we have little toes. So just like a little scoop here in the center, and then scoop to the sides. So scoop in the center, scooping out those sides. Okay, get the little feet. You can see in his body, we've given him a little detail, a little tummy detail. We're just gonna see how far up here it comes down to, and where it hits on the hand here, and where it comes up on the top near his neck. So then you can just sort of follow along. Make this rounded. It's always easier to turn, I find, to turn your canvas and have your arm go like that. I find it hard to draw circles when my hand is so upright like that. Or draw a curve, rather. Okay, so that's looking good. What else do we have? We have a few more face details, so let's do that. I'm looking here. So from this sort of corner, I mean, it's a soft corner, but let's call it that. And put your marks there. And then just a gentle curve. Again, I'm just using the arc of my hand to help me do that. Nice and smoothly. And then we'll see here, little horns. You don't want them too sharp because he's cute. And then little ears. A leaf shape almost. Something like that. Okay, so we can mark in his head here. All right. And last for this part, we have his wings. Now we can use a little bit of, digital drawing trickery here, or just making it easy, which we could have done with the ears as well. But if you want to go ahead and create a new layer just by tapping on the plus sign and just go and draw this wing here, and then we'll just duplicate it because it's going to be identical. So if you want to kind of mark here how far away, it's about there, and it comes down to about there on his hand. Okay, and then I'm going to see how far it comes out from this tail, so right about here. And it's on this angle, so you can kind of use your brush or your pencil to go like this. I'm kind of looking at that sort of angle. So then you just simply start to connect, swoop up a little bit, over to the side, scallop, scallop, and then just use your eraser to help you out, make that look a little nicer, a little rounded. Again, we're not using any aggressive edges. This is supposed to be a cute, friendly dragon. And here too, I'm just going to soften this a little bit. There, okay. Doesn't quite look identical here at this point. There. Okay, so what we can simply do is just go ahead and duplicate this. So swipe to the left and say duplicate with your arrow and uniform selected. I'm just going to say flip horizontal with the arrow selected still. Now I have snapping on. You can turn that on if you want it to have, you'll see, oops, you'll see that it's just like these lines, so I can't, it kind of sticks to it. So if I want it to be exact, you can have those on and away you go. So that we can do, then we don't have to try to absolutely have them perfect, and then it just makes it a little bit easier to do. Now you can merge all of these together just by pinching them with your fingers, and now they're all on one layer. Okay, our last step, just a few details. All right, so this is a cute little guy. We just got simple eyes. Even though they're simple, I think they still have some expression because we have these little eyebrows. So sometimes expression doesn't take much. Again, it depends on the style that you're trying to do and what story you're trying to tell, but this is enough for our little guy here. Little nostrils. And we'll just do some simple scales. So just these little curves. What else? We have these little tummy. I like the tummies like this. I think I've done them on all of the examples. I think they look cute. Okay. And then we can do little details on the wings, so just like a little line. Just kind of showing where the bones in the wing, I guess. It's just enough detail to just make it read even more as a wing. Okay, and then we're just gonna do the details on his tail here. Just super simple triangles, not too big. And maybe the last one would be the smallest one. Something like that. Okay, so if we turn off our guide, you can see we have a cute little character there. And of course you can go ahead and make nicer line work on this and color it in. But for this lesson, we're just gonna do sketches of everything, just rough sketches, and then we're gonna develop one further into our full fairy tale story. So I think that's good for that guy. He's rather adorable. So in the next lesson, we're gonna carry on to Dragon 2. So I will see you there. Okay, let's just get back here. I'm just gonna go back to screen. Nope, I'm going to go back to camera. There we go. Hello. Okay, so Julie wants to know, I want to be sure how long this is, because I can say, she's just wondering about the timing. Yeah, I just started that part, the sketching, and then I'm going to draw some more. I have no idea how long this is going to take. I'm trying to keep it to an hour, but we're already half an hour in, so I'm not really sure. But don't worry, this there will be a replay, so you can pause it and yeah, draw with me if you're a bit behind. So no worries. Okay, so if everyone is good to go, I'm going to draw on my iPad. So hopefully this next thing will work. Let's see if I can make this happen. Okay, so just make sure this is on. And let's see. Now, can you see my iPad in the center? Just move this stuff out of the way, like that. Okay. So far this is working good. You can still hear me and you can see the iPad. Hooray! Right. This is wonderful. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is, here is my sketch that we did before. You can see this is the same one I just showed you in that video. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to turn off my background layer so it's totally transparent. Just go to the magic, well, you can go two things. You could go here and just say copy, or you could just, your whole canvas, if you had multiple things on, you can just go to add and go to copy canvas. So then I'm going to go back to my gallery and I'm going to open up the fairy tale canvas that is included. So then I'm going to go to my wrench and I'm going to paste my drawing in there. Okay, so he's good size for what we want. All right, so I'm going to create scene elements. Now, normally what I do in the course is I have all of our elements separate so you can reuse them over again. But today, because of time issues and stuff like that, I'm just gonna draw everything all on one sketch and use that, just so it's all in one picture. But just know that, yeah, in the course, we do all the individual elements separate and then bring them all into a scene, and then you can rearrange them. But today we'll just do it all in one. Okay, so of course I don't have my right palette here. Hold on one sec. All right. Okay. So we have the dragon project, and I'm just going to use the brown again, and I'm going to use the correct one here. I'm just going to leave it on the classic sketcher for now, and I'm going to have it at about probably 15. I think that's what I had it at. Okay, so let's start. I'm just going to do a little bit of a scene. So we're just going to have maybe, actually, you know what? I am going to do a new layer and just do that on this layer, and then I'll merge them later. Okay, so let's just have like a little, I'm just gonna sort of map out what I want to happen here. I'm gonna have a little mushroom. So just draw sort of like a little mushroom cap here, something like that. This is just really rough at this point, just making things kind of, seeing where things should be. And I've drawn it already way too low, so let's just go there. And then maybe like so you see the underside of the mushroom like this. This is really rough. I sketch really messy and then I make it look nice after. But it's good just to get your ideas out and placement of stuff. Then I'm gonna have a flower here, right about here. Hopefully I've been flicking my pen around because I've worn out the nib and it kind of scratches on one side. So if you see me doing that, that's why. Just trying to, I've ordered them and they're not here yet, so. All right, and then let's just do another flower over here to balance it out, something like that. Okay. And if we want just to add some extra cuteness, we can add a little mouse friend right here, something like that. He can be saying hi to us, waving. It's lovely. Okay, so just a few little bits of foliage and whatnot. So with that, I'm just going to turn down that opacity just so I kind of see the placement of that. And then I'm going to go to my sketch layer and let's just kind of map this out a little bit more. So I'll just zoom in and I can do a cute little mouse. He doesn't have to have too much detail because he's so small in this. So big ears, little face. Maybe his little hand is like, it's hard to draw this small. All right. Sort of standing on here like that. Maybe he should be a little bit more upright. So I'm just going to take my selection tool and select him with freehand on with the arrow. I'm just going to just tilt him that way a little bit. All right. So then let's just, actually I'm going to do the flower first because it's going to be in front of the little toadstool here. So let's just do something really simple. That's all you need, especially when the character itself is so simple, you don't need too complex of flowers. So let's just do a little circle and then just a little petal like that. On here you can give it a little wiggle like that. Just something simple. And then a couple lines just going towards the center. Just adds a little bit. That's nice. Okay. So then we'll have it just curving over here. Just be loose with your your florals, you know, just this little extra bit of foliage. Because like you can do things like this. This doesn't even make sense, but it looks cute. Just little like leaves like that. You know, they're not connected. It's not absolutely logical, but it doesn't have to. You can just have little bits of, you know, just little squiggly lines for some grass. And then maybe like a little leaf thing like that. It gives it a little bit more of loose look and a bit of personality. Okay, so now we can, actually, you know what, I'm going to do a few little berries. Berries are super simple, you just do circles. Easy peasy, and it just creates another texture to it too, I think. Sometimes just a few little bits like that. Okay, so then we're going to go ahead and just figure out our little toadstool here. So just the curve, and then here is going to be curved this way, and then just a wiggly line. Just sort of that cap look. And then curve your stem and have it narrower at the top and a little bit wider at the bottom. And that's good for that. So this one, same thing, just sort of that cap look. And this time, this will be like this. And then you're gonna have a wiggly line kind of going around, a wiggly line in the center here too. And then this part, you have a rounded part here, and then curve, so you can kind of see that other side. Now for this part, it makes it look neat when you go ahead and have sort of that, those lines that are underneath here, how mushrooms have, that kind of thing. And you can have a few more. Something like that. Okay, so now we need maybe a little bit in front. I'm just going to erase this a little bit. I'm going to just do another teeny mini little toadstool here, just like that. And then you can just kind of have these lines just fade away with a few little grasses. You can just make sure that when you're overlapping there, mess with that. So that's kind of just, I don't want to like draw all the grass. It looks really, really funny if you're just like, you know, grass, 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 like the whole way through. Just sometimes just a few little bits is enough just to finish off the drawing. So you can just kind of allude to there being more, you know, just a few squiggly lines. It's not even that. Oh, I didn't even do the mouse's face. How terrible. Okay, let's just give him a few little eyes here. And a little nose, just nice and close up there. I'm not sure. Try to give him some whiskers without, just really lightly, not too much there. Okay, so that's probably good for that. And then let's just finish up, same sort of flower over here. So just up, a little wiggle, down, just little wiggles. And then some lines going towards the center. Okay, and then maybe this one, so let's just have this stem here. We'll just curve it like that. And this one here can have sort of, just see the back of it. So just like petals like this, and then you'll just see, so it's kind of facing away. Just makes it a little bit more interesting, I think. So a little leaf, and then you can do the same thing here with having like just floating leaves kind of thing. Maybe a few berries, and maybe a few more like little bits here. Just squiggly lines for grass. Just try to make them not look uniform. And maybe some more berries that are sort of floating there. Something like that. Okay, I'm actually just going to take my selection again, and just because I've been zooming in so much, I'm lost that these are not quite on the same plane, so I'm just going to move them down a little bit lower. Okay, so, and he has his arm in front of him, so I think it might be nice to actually put a little bit of flowers in here too. So why don't we do that? Just really simple, a little shape like that. shape like this. I'm gonna have to do a little bit of erasing here on my little stripes here. Just like that, maybe one like that. Just super simple. Nothing too complex. Put a few leaves. Maybe erase this here. Oops, a little too dark. Trying to keep my line weights relatively the same. Like that, so he's holding something. So it kind of brings it all together, I think, makes a little bit more sense. Okay, so now that we have that, I can just delete this with my original, that rough sketch that I did for the flowers before. And now we're ready to go and illustrate this. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tap on the N and turn this to hard light. You'll see that it changes the color and it will change how it reacts with different colors and whatnot that we put on top. So then I'm going to create a new layer, and then I'm going to go over my sketch, just perfecting my lines, maybe not going over exactly the lines that I did. It's okay if it's not exactly on there. I'm just going to just be a little bit more accurate, a little bit cleaner. But like I said, this is more of a vintage grungy style, so it doesn't have to be absolutely like that slick line work kind of look. Maybe you want a little line there. So you're literally just tracing your work. Oops, of course I'm gonna move here. This is a slippery table. Okay, I think I've made this a little bit square over here. There we go. All right, I'll try to do this as quickly as possible. Usually I might take a little bit more time, but we've got lots to get to. Okay, this is where we should have some music. I didn't think about that. Oh, probably would make sure to be the right music, otherwise copyright would be an issue. See, I'm not worrying about being exact. I kind of want these both to see both of this. The line work adds another element to the whole look. All right, there's our dragon done. Don't think I missed anything. Oh, this pencil is driving me crazy with this scratchy bit. Oh, you know what I forgot to do is put our little detail on here. It needs a few little spots. Not a very good toadstool if we don't have some spots on it, I don't think. Something like that. Same with, well, we'll get there in a minute. You can see how loose you can be too. Once you kind of know where you're going, you can kind of have that little loose line work, especially with this any groundwork or any foliage type stuff. This little guy doesn't have any spots either. Let's make sure he does. Okay. Oops, I see I made a mistake there. Random spot. All right. I don't like the way that worked. Okay, that's good. Okay, let me just erase this little mess here. Okay. Back to my correct layer. Let's make sure I'm on the right spot. Oops, it's a little bit too harsh. I like my lines to be lighter at the top, darker at the bottom. This looks a little bit more like the weight is going into the center. Talking is better than music. I know, I don't know what to chat about here. All right, I'm going a little bit fast. Hopefully that's okay, but yeah, kind of get the idea. All right, so now that we have our next layer of line work here, what we're gonna do, so I'm just gonna duplicate this layer, this new layer on top. Duplicate that layer. Just thinking, okay, so I'm going to take that, go to your magic wand, go to Gaussian blur, and then I'm just gonna go and move, you'll see here the percentage, I'm just gonna move the slider up to 3%, just so it gives it that blur. It almost looks like it's baked into the paper. Then I'm gonna go ahead and duplicate that again, tap on the N and go to color burn, and you can see how that changes that look. It just gives it a different type of look, and you can go ahead and change the opacity of the different layers if you'd like, if it's a little bit too harsh. Sometimes with the color burn you might want to bring it down a little bit. Kind of depends on how heavy-handed you were with your line work. Okay, so now that we have that already, we're going to create a new layer on top. I'm going to go to my brushes and grab the soft edge brush, and I'm literally just going to scrub all around the edges. I'm also going to be at about 15 for this as well. So if you just kind of go, I'm just being, as you can see, really loose, just around the edges. It's going to create this vintagey kind of look. You can also use this, it's great for shading as well. This is easy peasy, like you really don't have to be too neat on this one. Just scrub the edge to create that look. I'm going to try to zoom in so you can see. Being like super messy. But just how easy that is. Oops. Nope, it's a little bit too much. Kind of a balance between, having it not too heavy. I want to move. All right, so I have a few around here, not to be too fussy. You can see it's like gonna be really rough. While I'm here too, I might just give him a little bit of a shadow. Just really lightly, I'm giving very light hand, just give him a little, just kind of bit of ground there. Okay, so with that, I'm going to create a new layer on top and go to the dust. And very simply, I'm going to be on about 35-ish. Do you see how that's just giving that vintagey look? So this is even simpler. You just literally go like this, just around the outside. So just making it look old and a bit grungy. So I just put it around, and that just completes that whole look. Okay, so you can see how that makes it so from just a really simple sketch, and yeah, that just really makes it look nice and vintagey. Okay, so we are ready to paint. So I'm just going to collect all my layers and group them together just so all my line work is on one layer. Then I'm going to create a new layer and just bring it down. And we'll just do some simple painting for this guy. So I'm going to grab the fluffy filler. It's a pretty opaque brush. And I'm going to get this light purple. And let's just fill him in. I'm going to, my brush is about 28 or so, just sort of whatever works for you. And I can drop in or I can color it in. I kind of like to color it in. This is kind of satisfying. Okay, so I'm just going to color those parts that color, and then I'm going to create a new layer on top and get the yellow and just color his tummy in. You can avoid the flower, you can go over top because we'll just put the colors over top, and that's fine. And then his wings. Little face. And his horns just kind of breaks it up a bit, and all these little bits as well. I'm gonna bring my brush down a little bit. Okay, that's probably good for that. Now we can go ahead and just kind of do a bit, highlights and shadows and stuff like that on here. So we can go back to the purple layer, tap on that, create a new layer, tap on that layer and make it a clipping mask. We'll just make it easier for us to shade. And then I'll use, I think this darker purple will work nicely. Get the fluffy painter and just bring it down, maybe 7 or 8, something like that. Just give him a little shadow here. Because there's so much detail to the line work and everything, you don't need a load of painting stuff going on. You have the canvas, you have all the line work, and it doesn't require a ton because we still want it to be not too complex. It's kind of a simple character. And then we can go to this yellow layer, create a new clipping mask, so new layer and then clipping mask. And then I kind of want to bring in some more of the beiges. Let's have this, yeah, that one looks nice. So we can just kind of give him a little shadow under his chin, a little bit under the bottom of his face. little bit in here. Something like that. Maybe I want to bring in this orangey color. Yeah, just a little bit. I'm being really light with my brush. Just kind of warm things up a little bit here and there. Just for a little bit of variety. Okay, that's probably enough. Okay, on a new layer, yeah, might as well. I'm just gonna grab just white. I forgot to do this. Let's just go and get classic sketcher. I like a little twinkle in his eye. Oh, that's why I need to do it above, of course, above all of our line work. So I'm just putting a layer at the very top, and we'll just give him a little twinkle in his eye, which is nice. Back to over here, and let's just do a few more details. Actually, yeah, I'm going to create a new layer and use this pink color. Go to the classic painter. Let's just give him a little cutesy cheek. Might need to lighten those up a bit. Try to make it the same size. Okay. I can turn down the opacity a little bit if that's a little bit strong, maybe. Okay. So that's looking good. And let's see. I think what I'm going to do is I can do this all in individual layers, or I can do this. I can go ahead and select all of my layers, group it, and then I'm going to go and duplicate it. So I'm going to swipe to the left, duplicate. So I have two versions of the same thing, and then I'm just going to flatten it. So this just is all the painting is just on one layer. I'm going to do this because then I can just do one thing to this. I can do these effects just to this one layer instead of going individually through my clipping masks. So you'll see what I mean in a second. I'm going to create a new layer, make it a clipping mask. I'm going to turn it to add, and then I can just add this add this effect to this entire paint work here. So I'm going to use this color here, this bright yellow, with my fluffy painter. And you see how that gives that a really aggressive highlight. So I'm just going to turn my opacity down to about 50%. And I'm just going to, maybe even more than that, maybe 40, closer to 40. Just do these little bits, little highlights. Just maybe on the nose, on the head, maybe on the ear a little bit. Just kind of gives it a little extra something in the tops of his feet. Kind of like that. His hand. I think that's enough. You don't need too much. Actually, maybe a little bit on his parts of his belly. You can see how that just pops. So here's, just a little extra highlight just really adds something special to it, I think. Okay, so I think we're ready to do our flowers. I'm going to do that. I'm going to create a new layer on top because I need to go on top of his belly here. And I'm going to have to adjust my palette a little bit for this, but that's okay. I'm going to start with this pink and grab the fluffy filler, making sure the opacity is up and just getting my brush size fairly small. Okay, so I'm just going to paint these ones in the back, this pink color. And then I'm going to take this and move it up. Actually, I'm going to move it down and to the right, just so we have a little bit of a deeper color there, just a little bit of contrast. And then I'll get a green and just fill these in. Super easy. Okay, so let's do our other flowers while we're here. I'll go back to this pink. Just fill these in. Use a slightly bigger brush. Okay. right, and then we'll go and you can go to your history and get that darker pink, that red, if you like. I'm just gonna do this teeny tiny little mushroom down here, and I'll use it for the berries as well. Okay, and then let's go, while I'm thinking about it, I'll just get this color here and just put a little dot in the center. I don't know if that's going to be bright enough actually. Maybe the bright yellow. There we go, just a little dot. But it does change it. All right. So then we can go and get the green and just fill this in. Maybe bring my brush size down a little bit so I can fill that. And what I'm going to do here is just give myself a little bit of greenery, and then I'm going to show you how to blend it out. That's too thick. Let's get down here. Okay. Something like that. And you can just give yourself a little extra like that. And a little bit. Okay, so then you can just go get your smudge tool, and I just have it, I'm going to set it to the same set of brushes, and I can just use the fluffy painter. It's a nice soft one, and I can just bring it quite small, and then I'm just going to blend this out a little bit, just so it kind of just as soft. Just looks nice like that. Okay, let's do our mushrooms. I'm going to just create a new layer below so I can go behind here. And let's get a mushroom color. I think this one might work. Yeah, it's okay. I want it a little bit grayer than that. I don't know if I have one here. Okay, use this color here, and then just move it. In here you can move it to just a little bit more grayed. Let's see if that's a bit better. And it needs to be darker as well. So to the left and down. That's a bit better. This is something a little bit more neutral. I'm just gonna leave the spots same color as the canvas. And we just color that in. And then we'll use a darker brown below. Let's see, that's too red, that's too dark, so up and to the left. That's good. Okay. Our little mouse needs a little something too, so let's just get that beige color. Just give him a little bit of color. There's hardly anything to color in. I do want his tummy white. Maybe I'll give him a little bit of a pink, maybe this pink here, and a little bit of a pink ear. I think it needs to be darker than that, so that one. And let's see, we can just use our blending brush. Just bring it really small. Blend that out. Blend all this. Yeah. I don't want too much focus on him. I forgot to give him a tail. How horrible. Well, I'll just add it now, just so you know. You can add a tail. That's probably a good idea. Give him a little. There. Anyways, forgot that. Whoops. All good. But it kind of makes that space look more normal too, with that tail there. Okay, so we can continue, and of course you can go on, here and go ahead and do some shading and stuff like that. I would use the classic painter, and you can go and do a little bit more shading and whatnot. So maybe we'll just add a little bit of that. Then you can go to your flower section here and maybe use this pink and down and to the right and give yourself a little bit here. But they don't require too much more. All right, now let's go all the way to the bottom and drag that layer below. And I'm gonna just grab a brown, maybe this one will work. That's probably good. Use the fluffy filler, and I'm just gonna make myself a little foreground here. Actually, I'm gonna make this darker. This one down and to, actually to the left this time. I want it a little bit more grayed out. There we go. A little bit more depth there. Just gonna, oh, actually it's because my opacity is down. That's why it wasn't very dark. Always check your opacity. Okay, so something like that. And then we can go and on a new layer, we can go to the pink, and I'm not going to draw our whole tree today, but we can just kind of do this to allude to a tree. You can go to the cherry blossom splatter, or scatter rather, and just give yourself some cherry blossoms. It's kind of, you just got to play with it a little bit. So that kind of lets our scene sort of create the idea that there's a little tree there. And lastly, what you can do is, if you want to kind of create a vignette kind of a thing, you can go to the very top, create a new layer, have complete white, and if I go to add, it really helps too. So just go to add, and then you can bring your brush down. Yeah, I think that's going to be fine. Bring your brush down and kind of go around like this. Oh, you know what? I haven't done the background color yet. Let's do that first. Keep that layer there. Sorry, guys. I'm just going to go back down to this, my ground layer, create a new layer. Let's just actually fill in the background. So I'm going to use this, let's see, this color here, and go to the fluffy painter. Have my opacity all the way up. Just create this background. Have a nice big brush. Just fill in the color. So kind of create a bit of a sunset. Let's use this pink. That might be a bit much. Use it really lightly. Just kind of want that glow. And then the purple, kind of add that around there. You can hear my pencil scratching. Something like that. And then I'm going to, actually I'll create a new layer again, set it to add with this yellow and the fluffy painter. I'm going to kind of create like a, see a glow effect behind him. So you can, again, bring the opacity down a little bit too, or I can also control the layer. I want him to be kind of like he's a bit special and glowing from the background. Okay. And then I'm going to go back to what we were doing on that layer that is set to add with white, and then we can go to the cherry blossoms and kind of create a circle here. And then you can bring them smaller. That was just a little, whoops, I got really small. Just to kind of fill that in. I think I need it a little bit bigger around here. Create a little vignette. Now, that's looking pretty cute. I see that I didn't color these in, so my mouse is a little bit light, so I'm just gonna, or he's kind of taken on the color of of the background there. So fluffy filler, I'll just fill him in a little bit so he stands out a little bit more. Not his face, but something like that. There we go. So he's a little bit brighter there. Okay, so I think that's it. So our little Doodle Dragon 2.0 is all done. Yay. Okay, so I'm gonna move back to over here. All right, we did it, it works. I'm so glad that you were able to see that and we were able to film it, so that was wonderful. So that is the course pretty much. That's what we do. We go ahead and create these lovely little characters and lovely worlds, and yeah, it's a really, really fun and information packed as always. Lots of good stuff in there for you, so lots of good learning. So if anyone wants to do questions, it doesn't have to be about this specifically, it can be about anything. Let's just, if you want to chat and let me know what's going on, that's good too. So nice to just be able to spend time together. So, oh my goodness, everyone's here. Hello. You're so welcome. It was really fun. How are we doing on time? Oh, not too bad. Not too bad on time. Okay. Always feel like it's a rush. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, everybody. It's so great to see you. And yeah, let's do this again more often, and just, it doesn't have to be about a course or anything. We can just do something fun together. So yay, love you guys. Oh, Julie has to take illustrations book. Can I do it all in Procreate? Take illustrations to a book. Yeah, well, you can export everything as PNGs. Yeah, there's no reason why you couldn't. All right, love you guys, and I look forward to seeing you soon, and again soon here on chat. And yeah, it's been wonderful. So bless you. See you soon.